What's going on, my good people? I hope everybody had a great 4th of July holiday weekend. We're going to go right into a recap of what happened. So, I already jump started this a little bit, and I did a supply and demand zone for ES, but I'll walk through it with you all. So, we had a supply zone here last week, I had marked off. I can pop that up in the Discord. We did break through that supply zone. Let's get the old one up. Since I deleted it, I guess I got trigger happy earlier today. So we had it at 55.88.75. That was the distal line with the proximal at 55.78.50. So let me find that. That should be this distal line here. 55.88.75 was here. This was the top of that zone. We broke out of that zone. It started to break this zone, broke this supply zone, this demand zone did. So that's where this demand zone came from on a 30-minute time frame. Nice amount of volume, isolating the base candle down here. Could go a little lower, but this is what I got for that zone. I'm fine with it. It's only 30 ticks. 30 ticks, 1 to 1. I'm good with that demand zone. Following that, we had a nice amount of volume at 11:30 that same day. July 4th, of course, low volume. US was not active. So there was a little zone made by the other markets that were open. Then we came back on the 5th, the day after the 4th of July holiday, tested that same zone made by the countries that weren't off for the U.S. holiday. So that zone was respected and it's been running ever since. So those are the two zones I've got for there. That's 30 ticks also. So $12.50 per tick. If it's one contract and it was 10 ticks, that'd be 125. So if it's 30 ticks, you just multiply that by 3. You're at 375 risk. Let's go to NQ. NQ, very similar story. Supply zone got broken. So if you took the supply zone, which I marked back here on like the second, it looks like, if you took it on the third and you were brave and waited till, just preset it or was up for the London session, you at least got more than 1 to 1. Maybe, did we hit 2 to 1? We did hit 2 to 1 on that too. So if you took that supply zone, you got 2 to 1. 1 to 1 and or at least 2 to 1. A little more than 2, but we'll say 2 to 1. All right, so what broke that zone? I'm looking here as the origin of the move, but I would probably go here. We had a nice amount of volume, but it didn't break through until at this point, which is 9. So I'm going to take that. Buy. That's the new demand zone. This last one didn't get retested yet, so it remains where it is. Now you could take that lower zone under that too, if you feel so inclined to do so. It's the 1 to 1 there. So that one's a little bit lower, and it did start back here on the left. So that's the second option. I'm going to go with this higher one though. You could go to 1 hour and just take this whole area if you want it and make that your zone and just wait for a confirmation entry in this entire region. That's probably the safer play. It is because you get these lows included too. So it's all up to you. I will make this 20,250 like a trigger point for me. So if price did get here, and you wanted to wait, I would wait as low as that price to get in. So you could take the top of the zone, you could take it here in the zone. If you take it to the top, that's your 1 to 1. If you take it in the middle, like around here, you almost get 2 to 1 for what you would get for 1 to 1. So let's drill back down. 30. Yeah. higher zone, or you could just take the smaller zone and go there. But wait for a confirmation. Just wait to see what price does in this entire area and take your entry based on what you're most comfortable with. So that's the demand zone I see for NQ that broke this supply zone. After that, it bounced up just like the ES on July 4th. US closed, but other markets still made moves. New York came back on the 5th and got back in the market. So it took off from this same area that it took off when the New York market was closed. So when the US market was closed. So we'll go there. Let's move this over for that lower demand zone. We'll start it here at this candle. Let's line it up as much as possible. As a matter of fact, that may happen later, so let's push it back so that we don't have a lot of crowding. I will delete this old supply zone here. That's the new demand. Let's use the long position tool again because we will be longing from that. And of course, if it breaks through there, you could take the reversal the other way. And setting up the 1-to-1. You can see gold for entry, take profit, stop loss in red. Gold entry, stop loss, take profit in green. That's what I see for NQ. All right, next one. So we got ES, two zones, looks very similar to NQ. Let's line these up. I like symmetry. Forgive my ADD or whatever you want to call it over here that I'm dealing with. All right, GC. Gold. What happened with gold last week? So we had a supply zone. I remember we reviewed this one. That actually did hit take profit. That gold trade last week, the short. The first time we took it, I believe. Did we take it a second time? I do not believe we did. So I think I just didn't update this zone. But let's assume we took the short here, which is what we took that Tuesday. I remember that. We got more than a 2-to-1 on that. And then we took the breakout. We don't want to take this thing more than 2 or 3 times. So we took a breakout. If you did take the breakout, you won that. And we want to look for the zone that broke this zone. And gold zones can happen at any time of day. It doesn't have to necessarily just be New York. There's a pit open that I tend to look at also, but I'm always looking at the volume. Where's the highest amount of volume? So, and the longest continuation of green. So, and where did it start? So let's say here, 145. Could go as low as 140. Let's go to a 30-minute. So I'm not too down in the weeds. Let's get current. There we go. That looks more like it. So broken. I'm going to say this was the point of origin that broke that zone down here. Let's go here. I like that. You heard me talk about that African session before metals move during that time I'm finding as of late. So I'm going to take this whole region here, make that the zone. Delete this old supply zone that was broken. If you took a breakout, you got your 1-to-1 and then some. You could have held it all the way through New York. Yeah, it ran for a while. All right, had another zone, supply zone here I had marked off that actually took off in the gold pit open New York time frame. So I like, let's go to a 60. I like this. I like this area. Zone will be from there to there. It looks like we already retested it. That broke this supply. Bam. This supply is gone because it was broken by this demand. Bam. This supply zone. I don't believe I pulled this up in the charts, but if you got my trading view screenshot, you can actually open it and you would have seen these higher zones above. So this zone was tapped and it did work out for a 1-to-1 easily, it looks like. And now we're breaking out of that zone. So we want to look at what broke that zone. I'm going back here again. That's 9. They really ran it up at this point on the New York Gold Pit Open and the New York Session Open. But they didn't break through until this point. So that was 9. It's Friday. Yeah, I could take that one with a grain of salt. It's kind of grindy after that. So let's go 9:30. That's not a high probability area, so I'm not going to mark that one off. All right, higher zone, smaller supply zone, right above. Let's check the volume on that one. You know, I used to have the paid version of this trading view, but I didn't find the need to continue having the paid version. So, but I will eventually probably upgrade again. Knowing me, I'm just like that. Yep, I'm just like that. So, all right, let's see. Zoom in, tighten up the view. All right, we're going with this high. That's a nasty move down. So, major move down. And that is right around that Johannesburg time and end of the Japanese session time. Let's see. Tool, where are you? Fixed range. Go with that. Maybe even as high as maybe this candle. The body of that. Body shots. All right, 55 on that one. There was a higher zone than that. This could be a trap, a bear trap, stopping folks out that think this is the supply zone. So take a confirmation entry on this one. There is a higher zone above that. So short that. That's what we are looking like. For gold, we got a supply zone, a couple. And it looks like it tapped that one too, right to the tick. Huh. All right. We still could get higher in that zone. That was where it landed Friday. So we'll see what happens today. What kind of confirmation we get once price really gets into the zone all the way. We didn't get a 1-to-1 on Friday yet, so it looks like people probably just closed out. Whoever was going short maybe closed out half of the position at least. So we'll wait to see what happens there. Confirmation entry only though. So let's do the supply zone. Short. Boom. And let's look at the long. Let's drop it here to line them up. This is rough, so you want to be as precise as possible though. That's pretty spot on. Higher supply zone. I'll give you that one too. Just plot it so you can see the numbers on the right hand side. Gold is entry, red is stop, green is target 1-to-1. Let's see if it gets jumbled up. Gold is entry, the higher entry, red is stop. You can see the higher stop. and target 1 to 1. Of course, it's going to be a higher one than the one on the right. All right, that gets too confusing. You can also open this link up with TradingView and hover over it yourself and look at the numbers. All right, that's the gold one. And finally, we look at crude oil. Crude oil, the demand zone did not retest yet. The supply zone did. Looks like we barely missed it on the 5th. If you took it on Friday the 5th, you barely missed it. If you took it, let's see when we posted that. Crude oil. This was on the 2nd at 11:05, so it already had tapped. We were waiting for it to come back again. All right, and it tapped, way beyond that. It came back here on Friday twice. The London session and the New York session came back. So if you took a confirmation entry on that, meaning you waited, let's say you came down to a 5-minute chart, you waited till you saw a red candle in this zone, some type of reversal, or you could have done maybe a Heikin-Ashi candle, waited to for the momentum to change, then you wouldn't have gotten in till here and definitely got you 1 to 1. So confirmation entry would have saved you some heartache. If you set it and forget it, then you took a L. Unless you gave your stop loss a little extra room. You would have needed, this was 84.52. I had it at 84.49, the end of the zone. So you would have needed 3, maybe 4 ticks of buffer, 5, let's say, in order to not be stopped out. So it depends on how you set the trade up. All in your hands. You have the power. If you waited for a 30-minute confirmation candle, which I wouldn't have, you wouldn't have gotten into way down here. So you missed a lot of money doing that. All right. So I'm still holding that supply zone. Let's go back in time a little further. 4 hour drop base drop. Another one here. Let's mark these off. Boom. Boom. Let's see. I normally don't like the zone on zone stuff, but I mean, it is what it is. You have to mark up what you see. That's what I see on the 4 hour. Let's drill down to a 1 hour to make that more precise. I can tighten that up. Bam. Just going down the line, right? That's on the 1 hour. Now I get zone crazy. I don't want to go back too far and keep. You'll have 30 zones by the time I'm done. All right. Not literally. Let's go down to 30 minutes. This will be the final refining time frame I'm looking at to set zones up. I don't really like them smaller than 30 minutes. I will go to a 5 every now and then, but 30 is plenty for me. Let's tighten up there. Tighten up, buttercup. All right, tighten up. Tighten up on that. 43. Going back left a little more. Sometimes if you get stopped out, I heard that maybe you just didn't look back far left enough. Yeah, far back enough left. So that was a low. This was a low. Let's go with that. Nice wick, body close, wick back in there, body shots. Boom. All right. That's what I'm going with for those. 23, 23, 43. All right. Say I wouldn't go past the 30, but see if I can get that CL a little smaller, a little more precise to find that exact point where it turned around, which is here. Let's go that. Give it a little breathing room. Why did I do that? A lot of the other zones were already like 20 ticks or so. So if I see one that's 40, I figure I can probably get it smaller to reduce the risk. Look at this nice drop base drop. But it could have been just a bounce off of what was probably demand zone here to the left. Got a little reaction, broke through finally, made a supply zone. Some will argue that this is the supply, which I wouldn't refute much either. So that could be a nice little supply zone. Let me not go zone crazy. It is a 15 minute. Let's go back to the 30. If I see something on the 30 that I like more, then I'll go with it. Go with it. If not, then I'll stick with what I have. That could be a little trappy area. Let's stick with what we have. Let's go to this 5. If I don't see anything on that 5 that really convinces me, oh yeah, that's the zone, then I'm not going to even worry about it. Okay, going back too far. All right, we'll stay at that 30-minute one, and we'll look at this higher one as a possible zone. One more check. You guys may have seen me use this fixed range volume profile or seen it on my chart, but sometimes I'll use this to try to confirm where I want the zone to be. So if you see this, there's a nice thick stack of volume at this higher level. So that is a good area. It's a nice thick stack there. And next thick stack was here, which you saw there was a zone there. So let's expand this and compromise. Let's go there. Let's make this the zone. We'll go with the higher. And I'll give it a little more breathing room. And this lower one was a zone made after this higher zone. So we got some zone on zone stuff going on our getting surgical, man. 1 hour. Okay, if we did go with that, let's see, this was a demand zone ish area. Took off, started here, took off. Something higher had to break that. So you want to go with the higher one. Bounce, boom, 30. Let's go with the higher. Boom, 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 boom. We could either combine these zones or go with the higher one. I'm going to leave both on, and we will wait for confirmation entries on these. That's one of those areas that if it's not clear to me, then I'll wait to see what price action does once we get there. So I'll keep them both highlighted as areas to be on the lookout for. And that's what I'm seeing for crude oil. I didn't give you a demand. Let's see. 3 o'clock. This was made during London session. Retested again now. I'll still mark it for future reference because if we break this area of demand in the future, or if we come back here and we break it, we can look for a breakout. So there is other demand below this though, so we got to be careful. It's just a short range, so all right. You got the short position tool there already. Let's drop a long position tool so you'll have prices on this demand zone. Even though it's already tested, you may get another retest of it. I will wait for a confirmation entry before I took it again though. That's the 1-to-1 on that. Since this zone has already been tested, I'll give you the coordinates for the higher supply zone, or the price points, I should say, which will be over to the right. Gold is entry, red is stop, green is target. All right, I'll drop these in the Discord in the corresponding channel. CL will be in the CL, NQ, NQ, ES, ES, and gold, gold. Till the next one, happy trading.